Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. This is Dr. Elsie Coe. I am the CMO of American Endovascular and Amputation Prevention, and also the CEO and founder of Lead Physician Leadership Program. Before we start, we have a great guest today on the Culture Fix Academy, and I want to talk to you about a little bit about the Lead Physician Program. Stay to the end to listen, but we start in January 10. If you're looking for new results and you're tired of the way things have been, if you have a friend who's a physician or you yourself want that, join us. By the end of this 4-month program, you will come out with a mindset of successful leaders and have leadership and business skills that you haven't had before. Without further ado, Will Scott is our speaker today, and I would like to tell you a little bit about him. He is the founder and he's the founder of the Culture Fix Academy, which I could have him talk about. He's also the author of the best-selling book, The Culture Fix, and he's helped hundreds of businesses fulfill their corporate culture and dreams. Um, Will Scott wrote this book here, which we're going to talk about, The Culture Fix. You should read this. I read this. It's amazing, and this is going to help us in healthcare. Without further ado, let me introduce you to him. Will, thank you for being here today.
It's my pleasure. Good morning, Elsie.
Good morning. We are live on 3 different social media platforms, and I want you to. My audience is healthcare,
Yes.
and I know traditionally that hasn't been, but I think this applies everywhere. Can you talk to us about the Culture Fix Academy and your book and why you started all this?
Yes. Well, so very quickly, when I was growing up as a boy in Zambia, I used to love building clubhouses, but I would always want to put rules up in the clubhouse for my friends with rules like, let's be nice to each other. And so today I find myself going into companies and helping them put core values on the walls and then making sure those values are alive and thriving so that they can be used to drive performance and people can feel good working in that environment. So love the work, great connection to how it was for me growing up. But the big thing that I've learned is a lot of people have core values and have a cultural definition to help the performance of their organization. But rarely do they have a valued culture. Rarely do they know how to live and breathe and use those values every day. And that's really what the book is about, and why it's having such great success, and the program is having such success in lots of organizations.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? One of the things I had to cut and paste this out because this really resonated with me when I saw this and you showed this to me. Can
Yeah.
you talk a little bit about this picture here and why this kind of represents some of the things that you do for everybody?
Yes, well, I love this particular one because this is what I did in my own company, a mobile app development company. We grew very fast, and I had a successful exit there, largely because of the culture that we had bred there. And so, yes, whenever we do work, we like to have a core chart that brings alive the core values. So you can see some of the things we did here. Not only do we have values and descriptive behaviors, which is certainly a must, but we also personified with cartoon or superhero characters in this case. And here's another great example. Thank you, Elsie.
Yes,
And
I mean
yes,
I love
so
that.
yes, we don't always use these characters
Mhm.
because it may not fit the culture. But the point is to make the words come alive, because when we combine words with images like this, we augment our communal intelligence, which I think is beautiful words for anybody that wants to, lead a great culture. So yeah, there's a
Yes,
couple of
I love that.
examples.
Yeah, because and you told me how many people actually remember what their core values are.
It's one of the first questions we always ask is, hey, I know you have core values, but can you tell us what they are? And in my experience, if there's 4 or 5, people can really remember 2 or 3. And usually there's one predominant one. And sometimes people just stop there. And very often people can't name any of their values. And if they can't use them to manage the relationships and the behaviors within the company. So that's why we take a lot of trouble to make sure that the values are memorable and shareable and easily recalled. You might have seen for my value of deliver success, we had a character called Danny Deliver. And so we
Right.
would then just say, hey, Danny Deliver wouldn't do that. Or, hey, where's the Danny Deliver in you today? And we knew what that meant because that conjured up a whole set of behaviors like being on time, like caring about the end result. So, yeah.
Yeah, it allowed for conversation, you said, with among the employees that the leaders often didn't have to become involved in.
That's so key, yes. And very often we think it is about the leaders, and definitely we want leaders to lead with with values, but how beautiful when it's happening peer to peer and you don't need to be there. And I love picturing a day when CEOs can walk down the hallway and see a couple of employees stood by their core chart, that poster we just showed, and are talking to each other about it. And we know that they are enhancing the environment and the culture in the organization without us having to bring all the energy to that conversation.
Right. And you also spoke about how human resources uses these as to set expectations and also do the interviews to bring the appropriate people into the company.
Yes. So some of the things that we love to do is capture stories of people committing those values. And this should be done at least on a weekly basis with a shout out, perhaps. Capture those stories. And when they're really meaningful, somebody really brought that value alive, use that story as a behavioral interview question to help screen your candidates, your recruits, so that they are really going to be a great fit as well.
I love that. And also you talked about it's not just about internal, but it's external as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think a lot of leaders think we're just leading a company. I believe it's much more grandiose than that. We're actually leading a culture which goes well beyond the limits of our organization. And so I love to think that we are talking about values upstream to our vendors and downstream to our customers. And when we have that alignment of values in our supply chain, if you like, then we also get those benefits of less friction in the relationships, and they're more profitable, those relationships too.
Absolutely. I love that. And before we talk about your methodology a little bit, I want to talk to you about the recognition that you kind of instill within a company, and you make sure that employees are recognized and given awards, even very unique awards. Can you talk about that?
Yes, that's right. So it's just another way of making sure the values and the cultural definition are alive and thriving is to have a notice and nominate scheme or a shout out. And I like to see this in meetings and at least monthly in an all company meeting. And that's where we do the shout outs and we tell those stories. And yes, some companies like to have a financial remuneration there. If somebody gets a nomination, maybe they get a Starbucks gift card or they get something, sometimes even more special, like a weekend trip for them and their spouse. But also, really strong cultures actually have something that's maybe a statue of or some kind of medal or gold award or something that they can put on their desk for that week.
Right.
And a lot of people think this is hokey, but I assure you that people that are doing this are having more fun. Their cultures are healthier, and people are remembering and embracing the culture. And so that's one of the things we need to do to make it fun, And so many people, I feel, Elsie, just put the values up on the wall, even if they put them on the wall. Sometimes they just exist in an email somewhere. But if they're on the wall, that's where the work begins. It's not your job is not done as a leader.
Do you see this methodology? And again, we're just going to talk about that. Do you think this helps with burnout? And we have a crisis right now in healthcare, and they say that more than 50% of physicians are burned out. Not just physicians; we're talking about our ancillary staff, our dedicated staff. What would you say about the culture fix?
Yeah, so people are struggling with the great resignation. They're losing talent and find it hard to attract talent in a very tight market. And culture, of course, is a big part of that. Elsie, you showed two images, and the second image that you showed, the
Mhm.
leader of that company, Katie, thank you. She would absolutely say, in fact, she did say, I was on stage with her in Chicago a couple of weeks ago, and she pointed to this and she said, this is one of the reasons that people are trying to work in our company. They can see we have this great, well-defined culture, and they can see themselves fitting into this, and they want to believe that they too could be a part of this. And
Right. Yeah.
one of the very motivating parts. So yes, it can help retain and attract talent, but also little things like there. And I don't think it showed very well in your image, but there is a core target, as I call it. That company has a goal they're trying to get to 250,000 helping professionals, because this company makes software for social workers.
Mhm.
And they want 250,000 of them on their platform. Why? So that they can serve their patients better. And now you've got people in that organization say, hey, Katie, how are we doing? Are we getting close to our number? So when you have a really beautiful image that's out there in the future, people don't want to leave so readily. They want to stick around for that moment. They want to be there for the journey of getting there. And that's why a target and a goal is part of culture, because it's motivating and it helps people stick around to see that come to fulfillment.
They have a sense of purpose and belonging, I love that. And
Absolutely.
you put it into an illustration, and I
Yeah,
think you're the one who told me that more than 70% of people or 70% of people are actual visual learners,
that's right. That's
right?
right. Picture tells
So
1,000 words.
right.
Why wouldn't we use the power of that?
Why
And
wouldn't
the
we?
arts are so wonderful for stirring emotions and getting us, feeling good about things. And so I also like to recommend a theme song. And
Oh,
theme songs
a
are really a
song,
great way to
okay.
start. Great way. It's really a fun thing to do. Hey, here's our cultural definition, like the posters we showed. Now, folks, and ask your team, what could be a great theme song for us? And you get some nominations and you find one. And now you start your meetings with that, your town hall meetings, start with that. And it's fun and it's energizing. And people play it at the picnic or whatever. And they can maybe even dance a little bit.
That's
um,
fantastic.
yeah, I have one from a
Fantastic.
company in Cleveland that we just did. And they're in the business of snow removal and lawn care. And so they listen to music while they're working, and they decided they liked the song Astronaut in the Ocean. And it's a rap song, but it really is. You play that and you just want to dance. And they're feeling, imagine when you've got your folks, and these are hourly paid workers, when they're dancing in the yard, before they go out on their trip, and feeling the culture, that it's very powerful, and it's joyful. And I feel we could do a lot more with this.
And it's not just a song that you have to produce, it's a song that somebody's already produced that you've linked to your own culture.
Yes, because the songs, you'll find some lyrics. For example, there's some lyrics in that song about something about when my brain freezes over, I keep working,
Oh,
And so these guys are doing snow clearance, and they've got this song,
that's
Astronaut in the Ocean.
fantastic.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
So let's talk a little bit quickly. This is a very short podcast, and I want to talk about your methodology. Can you
Mm.
tell us briefly what the Culture Fix Academy provides?
Yeah, I mean, there's three big parts to it. Of course, there's lots of tools, and there's actually 29 deliverables in that if we do the whole project for an organization. But to sort of summarize it up, I like to think we should bring our cultures alive, make them thrive, and then use them to drive performance. So the bring alive part is about really carefully wordsmithing your words so that they are memorable and unique. And we put a lot of effort into that. And you saw some examples of that.
Okay.
But for example, there's a company there's a large manufacturing company in northern Michigan, and they wanted, one of their values is see something, say something. Now, to people manufacturing, that's kind of a safety thing. So how do you get folks, again, that are welders, caring about safety? Well, if you have a simple phrase that helps them, like see something, say something. Hey, Joe, that crane looks like it might, be at risk of hurting somebody. So words are really, really important, and we can help our teams, use that. Then the bring alive part of the program, it's certainly making it graphical and using the images and bringing the music and the arts to make it something we can engage with very easily.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
engagement, don't forget, is something that we're striving for. There's still very, very high levels of disengagement in organizations.
Yes.
Actually, 2/3 of all employees are disengaged in the workplace. So engagement is what we're looking for. So in the Thrive part, make it beautiful, bring some theme songs, plan your launch event, and also have a little address that anybody can use. And I'd like to make that a video. Maybe it's a 90-second video where we're going through the values, and it's what I call the address that
Nice.
anybody can give. And then finally, the drive part is where the rubber really hits the road, Elsie. And that's where we're hiring to values. We're unhiring folks that are not fitting the value and are dragging the culture down. And we have ways to measure the culture, measure people's performance against that culture. That's where we use the stories to have behavioral based questions for our interviewees and all those kind of tactical things.
All right. Awesome.
And of
And
course, the
and you
why.
didn't
I
you took
forgot to
we talked.
mention I forgot to mention the why.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Okay.
yeah, which is like the most important part of it is to have words to the why. That comes
Mm,
out of the drive phase as well, because we want people to have an intention and motivation beyond simply doing their work, and
Mhm.
know that their work is doing something meaningful for the world. And
Mhm.
so we take a lot of trouble to put words to the why for the organization too. Again, a big part of culture, a big part of engagement and motivation.
I love that. And you broke that down into 9 deeds within those 3 different categories,
That's
so
right.
I
Yes.
love that. So, tell us a little bit about how someone can reach out to you or learn more about this academy. I mean, I could say it, but I would like to hear from you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, of course, yes, you mentioned the academy. So they can go to the culturefix.academy, and anybody can sign up there actually, and for just a few $100s a month can get access to all of these tools, and then can go week by week, can get instructed by the academy and by myself personally in terms of how to go and implement the culture fix in their organization, and do these 9 deeds in 90 days. The whole program takes about four months, and as you know, we measure it. So do it, and all the surveys and everything there. And we ask, and there's usually at least a 30% improvement in those 4 months for organizations around answering the question, do we have a great culture? So that's one way is the academy. They can also, of course, find the book on Amazon and read the Culture Fix. And coming out next week, the follow-up to that, which is the Fable version, which a lot of folks might enjoy reading or listening to, is the Fable version of the Culture Fix, where a coach goes into a company and helps them transform their culture. Or just email Will at theculturefix.academy, and I'd be happy to have a conversation and help folks, especially in healthcare, because we really need this in healthcare, don't we? Don't we, Elsie?
Absolutely. In fact, I've already had a conversation with our CEO about your book, and the next is to move with HR and marketing about it. So, thank you very much for this. I really
Yeah,
appreciate what you're doing, and I think this can really help us in healthcare because people don't know how to get the employees engaged.
yeah,
So, thank you for doing
yeah.
for writing this book and doing what you do. And I'm happy to be part of your academy right now. So, thank you very much.
Yes,
Uh,
thank you very much for becoming a Culture Fix actuator and joining the academy yourself, Elsie. We're delighted to have you and excited for the difference you can make in the healthcare space.
Thank you. So I'm going to end this podcast, but thank you so much, Will Scott. If you are a physician or a leader who has a topic that you'd like to talk about, please reach out to me at info@drlcco.com. Please check out leadphysician.org if you are interested in joining our next cohort to have new results for next year. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and thank you, Will.
Thank you,
Any last
Elsie.
words? Any last closing words?
Yes, I think anybody can. This is for anybody, whether you're working within the company or you're a leader. You can help your organization, and help people love where they work, who they work with, and also know why they work.
Mm, very words of wisdom. Thank you. Everyone get the Culture Fix book today. It is absolutely like a golden present that you can give to your employees and to yourself.